Hello everybody, my name is GrimPlushy, and welcome to GrimPlushy's Mental Health Talks. It's kind of a goofy name, I don't know what else to call it, but today we're going to be talking about overthinking, right? Right, something that we all dabble in a bit. We all dip our tootsies in the water to check and see if it's still cold or warm, but we're actually not going to be talking about it specifically. We're going to be talking about a big misconception about it. So when you're thinking, right, and dots start connecting, right? That's not what overthinking is. I'm gonna put it into perspective, right? It's gonna be difficult to grasp. Stay with me. I don't have any keys to jiggle in front of your face. Imagine there's subway surfers below me, right? But basically, people get overthinking and deductive reasoning incorrect. I think that's the right term, deductive reasoning. Context clues, shit like that. Basic, like what they teach you in English. Overthinking is spiraling, right? And people seem to get the two confused when they're thinking of something and the dots start connecting. Like, she was out late last night, huh? You know who was also out late last night? Jordan. Jordan was out late last night, huh? Jordan and Sarah didn't get home until like around the same time, huh? Her hair was a mess. See where I'm going with that? That's deductive reasoning. You have a reason to be suspicious because they got home at around like 12 o'clock at night. That's not overthinking. That's just being a detective and you're Sherlock Holmes. So congratulations. Is my mirror broken? Congratulations, right? Overthinking is when you're sitting and someone tells you that they love you and you don't believe it, or you think there's some ulterior motive, or you sit there for a minute and you ponder it and you're like, they don't love me. Why would they do that? I haven't done anything for them. Why would they say that? This is random. What's happening? What's going on? Why would they love me? Why would they say that again? What's happening? What's going on? They don't love me. Why would they love me? I'm a horrible person. Why would they do that? Something's wrong. Something's really not right. What do they want? They want something from me. That's overthinking. Right? And that's where you kind of have to draw that line of, are you Sherlock Holmes or are you overthinking something way too far? It's like a huge trend on TikTok that I saw where people were like, when you're overthinking and the dots start connecting, gang, that is context clues, contextual evidence. You didn't overthink anything. You thought about a situation, you put two and two together like building Legos. That sounds like a really gas idea for a stream. Building Legos with GrimPlushy while talking about mental health? Oh, it's genius. Anyways, you just put two and two together, stuck them together like Legos, and you saw the path. That's it. That's all it is. You're using deductive reasoning, logic, and contextual evidence to come to a conclusion that makes sense. Now, there are times where they're not completely wrong. It's like you're overthinking that she never loved you and she goes and cheats. That's different. That's not really overthinking. That's just coincidence. But it is something that I do want to talk about because I know it is a major issue that nobody really covers. Everyone covers mental health, but they don't really talk about the gist of what can really cause it and like some of the really big factors, kind of the minor big factors. Like you have the big factors, the minor factors, and everyone seems to skip over like the minor big factors, right? They're in that like little group right there that no one really seems to see, but are always like kind of there. You know what I mean? So when it comes to overthinking, I'm immortal. I'm immortal one, baby. Immortal three easily in overthinking. I'm ascended. Honestly, these are Valorant terms. I am god tier overthinker, right? If I could get my degree signed, it'd be in overthinking. Like quite honestly, I haven't done it in a minute, but I get it's something that can be very stressful and very stressing for some people. It can cause a lot of anxiety. It can cause panic attacks. Lord knows I've been through my fair share. But I get that something a lot of people struggle with and don't really know how to combat, right? Preface, I'm no doctor, I'm no therapist. This is what works for me, and hopefully this is something that will work for you. But when it comes to overthinking, the way my mind works is that there are a lot of voices talking at the same time. There's usually my thoughts, we'll just say voice A, voice B, and then kind of voice C that lingers in the background, who says something every now and then, but we don't really know what he's saying. He's just kind of there. So voice one, or I will be like, she doesn't love me. Voice one will say some shit like, she probably doesn't. Voice two will be like, maybe she really does. And voice three, who occasionally just wants to say something just to contribute to the conversation, will just go, I don't know. And all that will happen at once. It happens with everything. Like, even making this video, there are 3 different conversations going on in my head, trying to figure out which specific line to say. And so at times you'll see me blink, and I'm just like, my mind froze. It shut down. But, continuing. That's how it is for me. I'm not sure if it's like that for everybody. I don't know. But that's how it specifically works for me. And so, going down past like that, I've come to the realization, I didn't come to this realization by myself. I was in therapy, and me and my therapist made this realization, is that you have to become self-aware of your thoughts while thinking. So basically, the way I learned to do this is to say whatever I'm thinking at that exact moment in time, right? So that way you can hear yourself, or hopefully hear yourself talking back to you. And that's what I'm doing now. My mind is off because I'm saying thoughts that are coming straight out of my mouth. Of course, they're being filtered and everything. So I'm not saying just go out there and say some outlandish stuff, but still, my point remains. You have to be able to verbalize your thoughts so they come out clearly, and you don't get a chaotic house party up in your head where everyone's drinking and snorting crack off the tables. We don't want that. No. So the best way I found is writing. Is to try to write down your thoughts. And how it works for me is I can't write as fast as I'm thinking, and I can't type as fast as I'm thinking. So I'll be trying to write something. I'll be trying to write down my thoughts, and I will freeze. And that freeze shuts my brain down because I can't keep up the multitask. And so one thing's going to give, and I'm persistent, so I'm not going to stop typing, but my brain will initially just stop trying to think. That is one thing that helped for me. Another big thing, though, is music. I am a huge music freak. I listen to pretty much everything except for country. I don't know why. Everyone who says they listen to music doesn't like country. I don't know what that's about. But playing music while you're overthinking, I don't condone damaging your ears, but if you're like me and your ears are already far beyond gone, play loud music. Play loud music in your ears. That way it counteracts whatever you're thinking and you can't hear your own thoughts, right? That's the best thing I've done. And I still do that to this day. Mostly because I learned that I struggle to control what's going on in my head. And you have that subconscious process that does, it's like your id, your super id, and ego. And I don't remember the exact video that my therapist showed me about it. But there was something about these, and those all lay in your subconscious. That's how you make decisions. Like, you have that, it's basically your mind of reason. Like, looking at this, your brain you probably immediately think, I shouldn't drink this. This has been here for 4 hours. My brain, on the off chance, goes, we have voice 1, voice 2, and then voice 3. We shouldn't drink that. We should drink that. Do whatever. Not really do whatever. It's more like it's more like pissy. He's always kind of pissy. I don't get what his issue is, but we'll ignore him. But your brain does that automatically. So I don't know how much help I can be, but continuing, the way I've learned is just to kind of drown all of it out with music. Not doing a specific task, or do something you like doing. Like, if you enjoy reading, go read. If you enjoy playing video games, play video games. But the most important thing to do when you start feeling yourself spiraling down a hole is to keep yourself busy. Because the second you stop doing something, like, let's say I'm gaming, going crazy, I just hit the most insane flick shot known to man, and then a thought pops into my head, and I take the time to recognize that thought, and I let that spiral begin to form, I know immediately that I'm done. So the best thing you can do is, if you feel that negative thought form, keep doing what you're doing. Don't stop. And I get that's difficult sometimes for people to do, to just like stop what they're doing and or not to continue what they're doing after like after a thought starts or when they start to spiral. Spiraling is something that I still don't know how to combat. It's something I don't necessarily still struggle with, but it is definitely something that affects me. So it's not something I can give advice for since I am still struggling with it. But the thing that I mainly try to do, especially when I start spiraling, is breathing. It's for me, it's kind of as simple as taking a moment to recognize that I'm going to be okay. Whatever I'm thinking is most likely not going to happen, and if it is happening, and if it does happen, I need to figure a way to deal with it. I'm not saying deal with it. I'm not saying come up with a plan for every time you overthink it. No, 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 no. I'm saying let's say if I accidentally mix deductive reasoning and overthinking, because this is something that does happen, where people will mix the two and they'll fall into deductive reasoning and they're like, she was gone late, and then it will drop into overthinking. It'll go, why was she out late? Does she not love me? Does she? That's what I mean. It will sink into that. If you feel yourself starting to questioning a lot of things, take a moment. In for four, or is it in for four, hold for five, out for seven? I don't know, something like that. Do that, right? Take a minute, breathe, and try to verbalize and write down your thoughts coherently. Or if that's not for you, I know writing for me is really difficult. Get a voice recorder app on your phone. Just get a random one. I do it when I go on rants. I will record myself just going on a rant. Well, now I have YouTube for that, so. But that's what I used to do. I used to record myself going on a rant just to make sure I didn't start falling. Another thing is I use humor more as a coping mechanism, so this probably won't work for a lot of people. I think I've talked about this on stream, but humor is my sense of like relief or it's defense mechanism. So I will more or less try to make jokes out of everything. Like like if I think she's out there cheating, I'll like go, if she wants to be with the other host, she can, and just brush it off. I don't recommend doing that. That is repression. Don't do that. But if humor is a coping mechanism for you, the best thing you can do is to mostly take a break and think, because with humor being a coping mechanism, you the the line that is what is a problem and what you are brushing off is blurred, because you can't depict if something's a problem. And once you do recognize it's a problem, you brush it off almost not instantaneously, but rather quickly, instead of actually dealing with that bottle or dealing with that problem, instead of bottling it up and throwing it on a shelf. Which I get that it is a lot easier to put it in a bottle and just throw it on a shelf and just leave it there and not touch it. But unfortunately, that is not how we work as humans. It is going to come up again. I talked about this last video. It's going to come up again. It's going to break. That bottle is going to shatter, and you are going to have to deal with it again. Unfortunately. And it is best to always have someone by your side. And if you feel like you are overthinking, I do think you should reach out, because communicating it with somebody is the best thing that you can do, simply because that person can keep you in line. I know this is how it went for me while I was dating, is that every time I felt like I was starting to lose it or lose it or becoming unstable, I would text or call her and be like, hey, and just start like ranting. And they would know, I'm not saying everyone should know this, but they would know when I was starting to sink down a really deep hole that I wasn't going to be able to get out of. And they would pull me back through. And that's what I'm saying. It is important to have somebody, and if you don't, go on a random Discord server. There are so many out there. Go on a random subreddit, DM a stranger on Twitter, go on a live stream of somebody's, and just talk. That's it. Just talk. That's all you have to do. Hell, DM me on Twitter. Depending if it's a reasonable time, and if I'm not working, I will try do my best to DM back or comment. do something. Reach out. But yeah, that's that's what I wanted. That's mainly what I wanted to talk about this video because I know I talked about being yourself last video, and then I talked about another video that went up today about what to do with about your mental health. But yeah, so that is this done. Reach out to people. Don't overthink. If you feel yourself overthinking, take a deep breath. Keep your body active. Keep your mind active. Solve a puzzle. Do math. Simple shit. Simple shit. Don't like try to solve world hunger because you're never gonna get through that. Trust me, I tried. But yeah, that is what today's video is mainly about. So if you did enjoy, leave a like, leave a comment, sub. We hit 30 actually. As of this video going up, I believe we're at 30. So if you did enjoy, thank you. And thank you for all the new faces that are here. And I hope you enjoy the content. And I hope you share it with a loved one or a friend. With that being said, I'll have a very blessed day. I love you. You're loved. And stay blessed out there, gang.